Okay, people, welcome to the first ever episode of the 30-minute special. We have an amazing first guest. Want to introduce yourself?
My name is Arrow Jackson. I sometimes go by AJ. Yeah, I'm just an American person.
In Scotland, man, this is crazy.
American person in Scotland, yes.
First question off the bat, how's the accent?
It's rough. Sometimes it's really easy, but there are a lot of people that I can't really understand.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I remember when I first moved here, it was just ridiculous. I'd order a taxi, but I couldn't
Especially the taxis.
I couldn't understand them. So like, I just tell them where I am, where I want to go, and just hope to God a taxi shows up.
Yeah, I mean, I've also had trouble with the bus drivers. I've had to ask them a few times what they're saying. They get mad about it. They're kind of just like, don't talk to me. I'm doing my job type shit. And I'm like, I get that, but I can't understand what you're saying.
Nah, that's fair enough. Oh, my days. Okay, like I said, this is the first ever episode. It's literally training blocks right here, innit? It's gonna be a learn and fail type thing. But I really do appreciate you coming through. I've actually met AJ through our course. We're both studying television production. Somehow I managed to, in every video I've ever done, I always manage to bring up the course for some reason. But how are you finding the course? I'm enjoying it.
I found it
myself.
interesting, honestly. I didn't have any expectations going into it.
Yeah.
So it's all brand new. Meaning like the course material.
Yeah.
Everything that I've been learning so far, though, is actually pretty familiar. Just because I do that, I guess, outside. Like, that's kind of the hobby that I have is video production. So.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Obviously I started last year, and you do learn quite a few things. Like, my Les and Laura are great teachers. I don't know if you know Les. Oh, he's kind of like the head guy.
The head guy?
Not really. Like, he's
like
the
of
head
the department?
No, not the head of the course. Like the
Oh.
television production course.
Oh,
I
okay. Should I know him?
I think, not really. If
Oh,
you
okay.
don't, you'll be fine. I think,
But how do you know him? Like,
we had him last year.
oh, I
We
see.
had
I
him
see.
last year, and so he taught us quite a lot of things. He actually he did my interview. I remember coming first time. Also, where I met a girl called Lily. She's actually in the course as well. And there was two other guys as well. We all made it onto the course, thankfully. But I met him there. Honestly, he's such a sound guy, real funny and all that. How are you finding the online lessons? Because we only get one practical a week, and I'm not in her class, so I'm like this Monday coming. I'm in college doing editing, and she's on the Thursday doing camera work. How you?
The online classes are kind of like, they're hard to pay attention to, I feel like.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Just straight up. They're hard to pay attention to. But I do like when we do group work because it feels like I'm actually learning something because I actually put myself in the position to learn it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm kind of just screenshotting images as the PowerPoint comes across the screen the whole time, just screenshotting and just putting it in a Google document because I don't know what else to do. Also, they go so fast that you're like, okay, well, I can't take notes on this. Like, I literally have to just screenshot it.
Yeah, you ready for the copyright quiz? Hopefully I ace it first time around again.
I don't know. I thought I was ready for the defamation quiz, and then I failed somehow.
Did you fail?
Yeah, I failed because I got one question wrong. And he was like, if somebody gets one question wrong, I usually fail them immediately, no matter how well they did.
Damn.
He was like, you got every single question right besides that one question, so you failed. I was like,
that sucks. Well, obviously, I made it first time. Obviously, I must be smarter than her. Obviously.
oh yeah.
Hold on, what's the time on that camera? Sorry, the reason why this is called the 30-minute special is literally because for some reason my camera will just stop recording after 30 minutes.
Okay.
So what would happen is I'd have to re-record.
Yes.
And then I just have to splice
Yes.
it. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to do like the whole
Yes.
30-minute special thing.
Absolutely.
It's just me being lazy, to be honest. But no, 5 minutes in, we still got a lot of time. Let's just get down to it. You identify as non-binary,
Yes.
but not the usual non-binary, if that
I
makes
suppose
sense.
so, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit for just to
All
educate
right.
some people.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Native American, and in my culture, I didn't grow up on the reservation or anything like that, but I grew up learning about my culture outside of it. My mom, when I was really young, kind of pushed me to learn about it. And then, it was a weird back and forth. She kind of like leaned away from that and wanted me to focus on other things. But anyway,
Yeah.
long story short, I've always been interested in learning about my culture, even though I didn't grow up in it. So
Yeah.
one thing that really stuck out to me is when I learned about genders within my culture. So, and just to be clear, my culture is not all of Native America, because Native American peoples come from hundreds of different tribes. There's possibly even thousands, and there's only 500 that are recognized by the U.S. government.
Jesus.
So it's almost impossible to tell how many tribes there actually are. But my culture being almost a conglomerate of all, considering, like I said, I didn't grow up on the reservation. So one thing that really stuck out to me, though, was when I was researching genders within the majority of Native American cultures, there tends to be a third gender, and they call it two-spirit. And so the idea of two-spirit is an individual who harnesses the spirit and energy of both male and female. But meaning not like, of course, literal biology, but just gender, like man and woman. They embody both and all that is around that, all the gray area, all the black and white, So non-binary for me is that two-spirit identity. It's more so all-encompassing rather than saying I am neither. It's saying I am both and more than that. So a lot of times when people identify as non-binary or gender non-conforming, it is almost offensive to them if you were to call them she or he, because they don't identify as either.
Okay.
So that's why they is more commonly used. And there are other pronouns that people identify with, but they is more commonly used.
Okay.
But for me, since I identify as two-spirited, but for the wider population, non-binary, within that two-spirit identity, I feel as though being called she or he or they or anything in between is not offensive. It's very much all-encompassing.
Okay.
I find myself almost intrigued by what people naturally call me in general.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people automatically say she, because, outwardly I look female. I look like I would identify as a woman. And there are some people in the queer community who automatically say they or he. So it's weird. It's a weird experience. But yeah, I don't get offended. Sorry, I keep hitting this by accident.
It's okay.
I don't get offended by any pronouns. I actually embrace all of them.
Have you ever met any other two-spirited people? Or?
Not in person, no. There are people online that will hashtag two-spirit on their photos and shit like that. So in that way, social media has actually allowed me to come into contact with people who do identify the way that I do, but never in person.
I'm curious, what did please don't feel pressure to answer this, but what did the people who, what's the word I'm looking for? The people around you, like your friends and family, what was their reaction to it? Or is that?
No, I'm fine to answer.
Yeah.
So when I discovered that this is something that I wanted to, I guess, pursue or look into as a human, I was in college and I was dating this guy, and I'm going to try very hard not to name anybody.
Yeah. Just tell them. I mean, I highly doubt they'll see this, but just tell them.
Well, for me, like, I thought, like, until, like, really looking into my own culture, I came into contact with just transgender in general. And so I thought, like, well, am I, like, transgender, like, do I identify as a trans man? Like, I was like, is that something that I identify with? And I went back and forth for years, but like in the very beginning, I was dating a man when I was feeling this way. And of course, like, telling him this was not like a, I mean, he was a straight man.
Yeah.
It's not something that really came easy to him. And I was like, yeah, no, I totally get that. I understand that. And we ended up breaking up, and then I cut all my hair off, and then I was like trying to understand, trying to feel myself, you know?
Yeah.
And I ended up realizing that, like, gender makes no sense to me, truly.
Yeah.
Gender as a concept makes no sense. I understand biology, and like the literal sex that you were born with. I understand that for science. But as a culture, I don't really comprehend the idea of gender, and I never have. So
it's I think it's with gender identity. It's for me, and hopefully, you know, people watching. It's I don't know. It's like how can I explain this without? Because, you know, I don't want to get cancelled like after like the first. No, it's not even rude. It's like. You know, I'm just not going to say anything. Continue, man. I don't know how to phrase it. Like, gender for me is, I just feel like everybody should just let people be who they want to be, if that makes sense. And if you don't, because you'd be ignorant to say that there aren't people out there that are like homophobic or trans or whatever. I feel people like that, they have a choice not to be around people they don't like. You have a choice.
But I guess that is really the issue, I would say, is that from that comes this idea that doing something or existing the way that I do, for example, is different, and different is therefore wrong, and you should avoid it. But in reality, gender is a construct that was created. It wasn't something that came naturally. We built these structures. Like, even in the sense of just clothing, when you think of just clothing, men and women's clothing, men weren't always wearing pants. Men started wearing dresses. And then the opposite, of course, women weren't always wearing pants. Now they wear pants and dresses. Like, it's speaking specifically about clothing, which almost sort of formulated gender in a way. It's always been fluid and always will be fluid. And to fight back against that is almost unnatural. So to be uncomfortable by the presence of a man in a dress would be unheard of in the 1700s.
Well, I do see where you're coming from with things like that. I just feel like, you know, just let people be who they want to be, really. I think I always do say that I feel like in this world we will have a time where everyone is seen as equal, whether you're a man, woman, non-binary, trans, black, white, whatever. I just don't think it'll be in our lifetime, if that makes sense. Like, which is a little
and I think that's why people
terrible to think, but it's like we will have peace, just not in our lifetime.
But I think that's also why people try so hard, because they want peace.
Because like, if you think the people who find being gay repulsive, I feel, at least, I might just be being ignorant, but I feel has reduced since earlier on in the years, purely because kids are being exposed to people who are gay and people who are openly gay and happy and all that stuff, and because of that, those kids are seeing as acceptable and just a normal thing. And because they see it like that, they no longer, their parents might be homophobic, but they no longer see it like that. So that's from that child downwards, hopefully they are now more open.
That's definitely the hope. That's definitely like
either that or
the prayer.
Homophobic people just know how to be very quiet about things these days.
Well, see, that's the other thing, is that it could be that what you just said, it could be that people are actually, the existence of homophobia is dissipating. That could be the case, but it could also be that we, being the people that we are exposed to it so much more frequently that we actually don't see the parts that are homophobic. That doesn't mean that they're not there, but it's just the fact that we are sort of in this area where what we see around us is what we want to see around us. So therefore, homophobia can still exist in many forms, in many ways, in many places. I mean, take Russia, for example. People are still fleeing Russia because there are certain areas that are actually coined as non-like LGBT areas because you could get arrested.
Jesus.
You could get arrested and killed and tortured and put in prison. Like that's
still some places in Africa as well. It's very. Sometimes it's also rooted down in religion and stuff like that.
It absolutely is rooted down in religion.
I always hear people say, in the Bible, it says it's wrong to be gay. First of all, I've never actually seen that in the Bible. Like, I've never ever seen it written in the Bible. But even if it's there, they also say in the Bible that you must never shave your beard and that you should never wear clothes of two different materials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if you don't... Sorry, I just spat on the mic. If you don't follow those things, why do you follow the other thing?
But the other thing is that... as a result of the Bible being translated as much as it has, where they say that the Bible says homophobia is wrong, that word has actually been translated many, many times. And back when it was originally written, the word was pedophilia.
Yeah.
So the translation was, I guess, altered and changed, like the game Telephone, basically, in new forms of the Bible. It just eventually became... a man sleeps with a man, or something like whatever the line actually is, when it was originally a man sleeps with a boy. Like it was pedophilia that they were saying was wrong.
Also, people need to realize, I am a religious person. I do believe in God and what, but one thing is, the Bible was written by man. It wasn't written by God himself. And men...
Yeah.
You never know. Like, I don't want to...
I can't tell you how often I say that, I swear.
I don't want to, like, annoy any of, like, the super, like, religious people out there, but, like, you never know. Like, it might have just been one guy that didn't like the fact that his son or her son was, like, dating a guy, so it was, let me just write it in there.
No, absolutely. It also... That's exactly what it is that people will always try to promote their own agenda, whatever that agenda is. And so whoever wrote this version and that version, it could be skewed as a result.
I mean, everyone just needs to mind their business, innit, really? That's really it. That's really it. So I got to ask, and feel free not to ask, but I'm sure people would want to know. How can I explain it? When you're non-binary, is there a... How can I... Like, if you're a straight man, you're interested in women. If you're a straight woman, you're interested in men. If you're a gay man, then you're interested in men. What is the non-binary? Is it just like...
Queer.
And what's the definition of queer?
Queer is, I mean, anything that kind of deviates from the normal. Because normal, right, is man, woman, woman, man. But something that deviates from that could be someone who's non-binary, who's attracted to trans women. Someone who's a trans woman attracted to someone who identifies as, like, I don't know, a furry. There's literally, like, there's queer encompasses all of it. Basically all of, like, the deviant sexualities. And everybody also has their own definition of what queer means to them. Some people actually are still offended by the term queer.
So you'd never see a non-binary person with, say, a straight man or a straight woman, if that makes sense.
Here's the thing.
Or would that technically be a queer relationship if that person...
There are people who are okay with that, and because they're secure in themselves, like, say say I was dating a straight man and I was secure in myself and my own sexuality, and I was secure in who I was as a person, dating a straight man wouldn't necessarily change anything about me. But a man who is straight, who identifies as straight, and dates somebody who is non-binary that outwardly looks female and feminine, that was born assigned female at birth, it sort of is directly disrespecting their gender identity.
Got you. So if you don't mind me saying this, you were assigned female at birth, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
But also, that's not something that you should ever ask somebody.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't know.
Just in general, like I'm fine with that question.
Okay.
But like most often, you should probably never ask that question because it is probably really offensive. Because it's basically like saying like, what genitals were you born with?
Oh, okay.
And that's like a very strange question.
That's not my bad.
That's okay.
No, it's because the question was gonna whoops. Because the question was gonna be. I was just trying to practically show it to the people. So if a straight man were to date you,
Yeah, if a straight man was to date me and
Purely
he
because-
identified as straight
but I'm only dating you purely because
of how I outwardly appear.
Yeah, then that's disrespectful.
Well, no, it's more so just like he's directly saying that he doesn't believe in my gender identity. Because he's basically saying you are a woman.
Okay.
You're not non-binary.
Okay,
you
I
are
get
a
it.
woman.
Sorry, I was just trying to like make it practical for people. Like,
No, understandable.
Sorry, I didn't
mean-
mean to like.
No,
At
I
least now I
understand.
know we're learning.
Yes. I am comfortable, like I said, in myself, but I wouldn't date a straight man at this point in time because, like I said, that is something that, like, for me would be a little bit offensive to have somebody that is identifying as a straight man date me because he's directly saying I'm not non-binary, I am a woman.
What if the straight man? Actually, no. Then that wouldn't make him straight, would it?
No.
Because if the guy was like, came up to you, but he was like, I understand how you feel and I respect that and I really would like to get to know you better. Or whatever the kids are saying these days.
That's something that like he probably doesn't understand, that his sexuality is actually a little bit more fluid than he has knowledge to comprehend, or that he is comfortable with admitting. And I think like that is an entirely different issue in general. And sexuality is fluid. It's not just straightforward. It's not just like this person is straight, this person is that. You can identify as being like pansexual and therefore you love whoever comes towards you no matter what their gender identity is.
No, yeah, that's fair enough, man. All right, well, I think I'm fully informed about these things. I mean, I still got a lot to learn. I won't lie, I did like hold myself in high regard thinking, oh yeah, I know how to talk to like people of different cultures or races or sexualities. I'm woke. I'm up with the lingo. Man, whoa, was I wrong? Like, okay, now I look back at it when I asked you, were you assigned female at birth? I do see why it's rude, but it's weird at the time of me saying it. I didn't really think about it as rude, innit? But
yeah.
Thank you you didn't take it. Hey, what's up, Keenan? You good?
Hey, Keenan.
Yeah. No. So tell me about more like personal life, because I think we're about to hit that. What we got? 20 something odd minutes. What's you like? Okay, I'll tell you this. I hope you don't mind me bringing up this, but so I'm getting everybody's Instagram on our Zoom, right? And then I'm like, hey AJ, what's your Instagram, right? So she gives me her Instagram. Oh, sorry.
No, you can. I said I'm fine.
I know, but I still feel.
I appreciate. No, I actually wait really quick. I do appreciate you actually trying, because that's something that people don't ever do.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just came out. I do apologize again.
No, it's okay. And I appreciate you apologizing as well.
Okay, and their Instagram account was like, they do.
This is very entertaining for me.
Do you want to tell them what you do, like what you enjoy doing, like?
Yeah. So I do makeup, I guess, because I do drag.
Yeah.
My drag identity is basically like a drag king.
Yeah.
There's drag kings, queens, things, aliens, like
Oh, yeah.
literally all in between. But I think that I'm a drag king
Yeah.
for my drag persona.
I did not realize this when I was getting her Instagram. Fuck. Sorry, I keep doing it. I keep catching myself. I didn't realize it when I got their Instagram, and I was so shocked. I was like, now I'm watching what I'm saying, innit? I was like, whoa, they're into some freaky shit. Like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I
And
guess
then,
I am pretty weird.
Then I started actually getting to know, like, reading their Instagram and stuff, and started to realize, you know, what it was and
Yeah.
all that.
I mean, it's different. Honestly, it's weird because what I do, like being a drag king, that's something that dates back centuries.
Yeah.
Back when women were not allowed to perform on stage and be actors and actresses, when they were not allowed to do that, women would dress up as men and go and act or go and sing or go and perform in whatever the way they did. And that became what is now being a drag king.
Okay.
But that also, going back to the gender topic, doesn't mean that you're a woman who does drag that looks like a man. Okay. Women who identify as women can literally do any type of drag they want. Men can do any type of drag they want, and it doesn't have anything to do with sexuality or gender orientation.
Yeah.
I'm non-binary, of course, and I do
Check out her
drag king
Insta.
stuff.
Like, check out their Insta. It's super like, it's awesome. I'll put it down in the description and whatnot.
Sweet.
Do you want to actually just tell them real quick before?
The name?
Yeah.
It's MXA Jackson. So MXAJACKSON.
Yeah, definitely check it out. They're really good at me. I'm really trying. Like,
This is great.
I feel like people think I'm taking the piss now, like I'm purposely doing it on purpose, but I'm really not. I swear on my mother's life, I am not doing it on purpose. I'm really trying. But definitely check their Instagram out. It's fucking awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we go? Definitely going into a part 2 because I feel like 30 minutes isn't enough to get to know them.
Oh, that's very sweet. No, just my drag king name is Mix Arrow Jackson. Mix because it's not Miss or Mister.
Oh yeah, nice.
Fun little in between there.
There we go.
And I'm performing on the 26th, which is going to be fun.
Whereabouts?
The Writing Room.
Okay.
I requested a little spot. They had like an open stage basically, and I was like, "Hey, can I do it?" And they said, "Yeah." So I'll be performing on the 26th. So I'm getting back into it.
I'll definitely be there. What last question before we go? The people probably want to know. All the creeps. Single? You're on Tinder looking for something?
I am married.
Real?
Yeah.
What?
I'm married. Yeah. I'm married to another person from the United States. She identifies as a woman.
Yeah.
And she is she's black from the south side of Chicago.
Oh, so she black, yeah. Oh.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We definitely need a part 2 now. For sure we need a part 2. Anyway, it was great having you on. Hopefully you definitely come back for a part 2 because we need to know about your wife and a whole bunch of other things, obviously. And hope you had a great time.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes.
Again, I'll make sure for the video I'll have their Instas down in the description. And make sure you join me for the next episode. Peace.